Well, hello, everybody. If you can hear me on the chat, say you can hear me. I hope that technical issues doesn't happen today. But as you know, every webinar, technical issues will happen. It's a classic, even if you prepare a bunch. But I'm super excited today because we have a really good one. We're gonna talk about the AI-powered sales, and it's a panel. I have some amazing guests that I'm going to introduce in a second. Just making sure everybody can come in. Okay, I can hear you. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Jay, for letting us know. Awesome, cool. Well, I'll start introducing because we're gonna have a great chat. And as you know, we usually want to do 45 minutes of this, but sometimes it's more than an hour. I have some really two amazing guests, so I know that it's gonna be a really awesome chat. So first of all, let's start with our amazing Brad. Brad, hello.
Hey Tim, how's it going? Good to see
I'm
you.
good. How about yourself?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Yeah, very excited to get stuck in today. So,
Yeah. Thank you for accepting the invite. Brad Smith is the team leader at Hubspot. I'm an absolute fan of Hubspot, by the way, Brad. It was many years ago, early days of Hubspot. I was a massive evangelist. I helped so many startups, especially to get the 90% startup deal back then, because if not, the pricing is a little bit steep for startups. But I'm so excited because we met at a webinar a while ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, I think you're most Hubspot sales rep's worst nightmare then if you're helping everyone get on the 90% discount.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, those were my startup days. And then as the CEO of Taskdrive, like we're dealing with much more SMBs and enterprises, so they're not on the startup discount anymore.
Of course.
So don't worry. So now I help you make even more money.
I'm just winding you up. Don't worry.
Awesome, Brad. Well, yeah, we met at reply.io. We had an amazing chat. And I wanted to invite you at Taskdrive's webinar. So thanks again for being here. And I'm looking forward to our great chat.
Yeah, likewise.
Awesome. I'm just going to bring our next guest and I'll bring you back here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. Awesome. You saw Brad Smith from HubSpot. It's going to be a great chat. Thank you very much again for being here. AI-powered sales. We're going to discuss a lot of AI style ChatGPTs and other things. And next up, I have Stuart Moss. Hello.
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining. We haven't officially actually met. We just chatted a lot. Thanks to Deepak, he introduced us. So it's awesome to have you here. Thanks for accepting the invite.
No, more than welcome. I'm not going to promise anyone a 90% discount, though.
No. Yeah, I definitely won't be asking for the discount. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna switch Wi-Fi for a second. No, that's actually Stuart's Wi-Fi, not mine. So let's just put Stuart a second in the backstage and ask him about his Wi-Fi. Can we ask Stuart about his Wi-Fi? He's having a little bit of problems. He's on yellow. Stuart Wi-Fi, and then I'll bring Brad and we can start the chat until we get a thumbs up from Stuart. Brad, until Stuart gets his Wi-Fi switched or something like that. Let's start the chat. Well, first of all, I'd love to, there's no need to introduce HubSpot, but you might have a couple of things to say about it.
Yeah, 100%. What, and specifically around kind of the AI and how we're incorporating that?
Absolutely, please. That's even better.
So I think it's quite an interesting one. It's definitely the top of the conversation at the moment within HubSpot is how do we utilize more AI in our day-to-day kind of sales strategies and things like that. I think at the moment we're very much tip of the iceberg, barely really kind of dug into it. But there are kind of a few things that my team are kind of quite useful. So I think the first one, I'm getting a little bit of echo, by the way. I don't know if that's my side, Tim, or... Okay, there we go. That's perfect. That solved it. So I guess the first one is using ChatGPT for a follow-up. Now, there's actually something that I kind of brought into the team, and it sounds really like simple, or sounds like it's sort of not that proper of a thing. But ultimately, every time I have a discovery call, loads of information. They're usually about half an hour long. How do I, rather than listening back to that call and following up or using my notes, so I put the transcript in that I get from Gong. I'm sure there's lots of tools out there that do very similar. You don't have to use Gong. And ultimately, put that into ChatGPT, say, hi, can you summarize all these challenges and requirements into a paragraph for me? And that will kind of, do it in a few milliseconds, as opposed to me taking 15-20 minutes to do it. So that saves me a lot of time. I guess that's kind of a key thing at the moment. I know a lot of teams as well are using ChatGPT to actually and using AI to find out a lot more around the industry they're operating in or the industry they're targeting. So things like, can you find me all the companies that are based in the UK that are in the pharmaceutical industry that have a company size of 10 employees to 20 employees, things like that, to help them kind of refine their lists and things like that. So kind of really across all of that, create, progress and close. All those parts of the sales process are definitely being hit. And I guess the last one that's really big, and I'll probably go into this a bit more later, is around that sentiment and analysis. So being able to understand, what objections are coming up in my calls, being able to kind of put that through AI to actually really easily enable me to deal with those objections or to kind of address them in the follow-up. So there's a ton, and I'll get on to kind of more ways in which HubSpot are doing it. I don't want to give them all away too early on in this call, but it's definitely a big focus for us at the moment.
Well, thank you for that. Is the feedback echo gone? Because I put the AirPods on. I think that's from this mic to the awesome, great. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that overview. So ChatGPT is your go-to tool for that type of stuff, then.
100%, yeah. And that might just be that maybe, I'm sure there's probably people out there that use AI more than I do, or they know a bit more about it. But I'm very vanilla from that point of view. First thing I kind of really used, HubSpot is also building all of this into their platform. So there's a lot of things that we kind of use that's already been integrated. But when it's kind of outside sort of tools that enable me, definitely ChatGPT is the one.
Amazing. And I think you guys have a growth bot or something like that, no?
Yeah, exactly. Is that the online chatbot? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that you guys have also. I think that you can ask SEO questions, domain questions, and things like that.
Yeah. So that's super powerful on the marketing side of things. So you imagine you're a marketer using HubSpot. You might be kind of writing some content, some blogs, things like that. You might be doing some email marketing. We have a little AI helper that can rewrite things in different tones. It can expand things. It can write entire blogs for you. All these different things that, from the marketing perspective, is massively helping marketers out there kind of get out their content quicker and kind of checking for things like that.
And I know that, this is a bit of a side question. You don't have to answer neither. I know that I think Dharmesh is very into all that kind of stuff, and he does have his personal little projects on the side with agents, AI, and stuff like that. Are you allowed to say anything about that?
I know he's always up to something, isn't he? I actually haven't know too much about it. You might know more than I do, Tim. But I know he's got his fingers in a few pies, and I think AI is definitely a big focus for him as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I follow his personal newsletter as well, and I learned so much from him. So great. Well, I'll just get into our questions that we have a little bit, but I think you've covered already a little bit of that start, which you gave me a little bit of an overview. But maybe you'd like to dig now a tiny bit deeper on elaborating on how HubSpot has integrated that AI into the sales strategies and the specific impacts that it had on your business approach. I know you've said a little bit, so maybe if you want to open up. If not, I understand that you've already gave us a lot of value there.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I can definitely elaborate that. And for full transparency, it's definitely a work in progress. And I'm kind of seeing this question more from the point of view of, okay, as a HubSpot sales team, how do we actually kind of use AI to make our lives a lot easier, right? And make our lives easier, make us more effective, all those sort of different things. And I think the kind of three main buckets, like I alluded to last time, is you really think about it from the kind of create, progress, and close, right? And I think starting with create, there's a ton of really obvious potential with AI. And what we're trying to incorporate is all the sort of things like doing kind of account research. So, if I'm going into a new industry that maybe I don't know much about, or I've got a big company in my, my capacity that I'm looking to prospect into, uploading, industry papers into AI to say, okay, can you write me an analysis of, what challenges this industry is facing, kind of what's top of mind for them at the moment. Same can be said with like annual reports and things like that. And I think you can now get to the point where you can basically get it to write you an entire email, kind of focusing on those challenges, and then be able to edit it from there. So I think on the create piece, that's huge, being able to kind of get that intel. And ultimately that just is going to make you more relevant and be able to make it kind of more personalized to them, which is only ever going to be a good thing. So I think on the create piece, that's kind of the main area we're really focusing on as a team. Now, in terms of progressing, HubSpot's doing some really cool things in the sales team. So, for example, we have triggers set up that when certain words or certain, so for example, when pricing kind of comes up in a call, that kind of flags it that there could be pricing risk. It kind of gets sent to your manager, gets sent to yourself. And as a result, you can then have some pretty candid conversations with your manager to kind of come up with a bit of a plan of, right, this might come up. How are we going to kind of deal with this? The second one as well is competitors. So we also have automatic triggers that, if a prospect says to me, we're looking at Salesforce, some clever automation in the background that I don't understand how it works, basically will surface me the Salesforce battle card, and then I'm ready to go from that perspective. So that's kind of from the progress point of view. And again, my manager probably knows a bit more about this, but from a close perspective, all of that kind of predictive analysis and forecasting to say, okay, well, Brad's got X amount of pipeline in whatever stage. We know on average Brad closes at this rate, therefore Brad's probably quite light, and it usually is. I'm quite light on my pipeline, so kind of get Brad to do some more cold calls and things like that.
Wow, amazing. And I know we said ChatGPT is your choice here, but on research, have you tried Perplexity AI at all?
I've not actually, no, never heard of it.
Yeah, check out Perplexity.
Okay.
I think on the research side, I see a little bit more success in it than ChatGPT. But as you said, you might not know the back end of all of that, automation. I'm very curious about that. That's another topic. But I'm guessing that you guys have some custom GPTs and some assistance API in the back, or it's HubSpot. So
yeah, exactly. There's some much cleverer people than I am doing some clever things in the background. That's always the case. But that good shout out on Perplexity. I'll definitely have to check those guys out.
Yeah, because I've been really going to that a bit more myself on the research side, and seeing much better success. So for everybody out there, Brad, your teams, check out Perplexity AI. I think we have Stuart back. Hopefully, let's see if he's with us.
Awesome.
Stuart.
So sorry.
That's fine.
For my internet to die.
No, sorry. We were chatting with Brad, but we missed you. How's your internet now?
It's somewhat unstable, so if I suddenly drop out, I apologize in advance.
That's fine. It does happen. It happens anywhere in the world. And I thought it was my internet and I was gonna switch, but then I realized it's yours. I was like, oh, luckily it's not mine. So at least I can host. At least I can host, Brad. Or I can just talk myself here. Amazing. Well, we covered some really good stuff about ChatGPT and how Brad integrates it into their sales process. Some really good insights there, Brad. So thank you very much for that. And well, Stuart, since you're back, what are the latest advancements in AI technology that you find most exciting for the future of sales, and how is Dealfront incorporating these innovations?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I think the most exciting thing about AI and how it fits into the future of sales is for all of us to be able to just remove the mundane, boring parts of our roles and those bits that fundamentally are just part of the job, but are not really leveraging the talent that we're all employed to deliver or be there for. So, for example, like note taking for AEs, for AEs, they're far more valuable than doing other things than just scribbling notes and then putting them in a CRM 3 hours later. For SDRs, they're way more valuable speaking to potential customers about the art of the possible than they are spending 3 hours every day trawling LinkedIn to find 20 people to reach out to, and then doing a bunch of research to figure out what to say. Of course, there's lots and lots of different examples I could probably give of things that would excite me about us removing it from our job or driving efficiencies. But I think if we could remove, or when we remove a bunch of those frustrations using AI and leveraging technology, I think that'll probably mean that all of us get a lot more deeper satisfaction from our roles. We're going to accelerate paths to career progression for people to earn more money. I think there'll be less presenteeism from people. And I also think there'll be less burnout and impact on people's mental health, which is something in sales that we probably don't speak about as much as we should. And I think AI will actually help reduce some of that heavy lifting we all have to do. And that will in turn help people with those challenges as well. Tim, for the second half of your question, how does Dealfront incorporate it? I think all of those kind of things are top of mind for us on our platform. So we're trying to advance our tools in ways that will support SDRs, sales team, marketeers, do all that heavy lifting for them, and then serving them up prioritized lists, both in terms of accounts or the types of people and decision makers you'd want to contact, sharing those insights into what those people care about, what to talk about, and why it's prioritized in that way. And then I think in the future, I've got to be careful what I say about our roadmap, but I think in the future, we'd start to leverage AI to do some additional parts beyond that so that you can literally just focus on the human connection at the end, not anything that comes before that.
Well, that's an awesome answer. And as you said, mental health. Just going back to that a second, because I think we should talk about it. I have, I think, a post on LinkedIn coming up tomorrow about my anxiety attack that I had when I was the head of marketing and sales at a startup, at a fast-paced startup a few years ago in Barcelona. So you said about low cognitive work, and AI really taking over that, because I believe that most of the stress, anxiety comes from having that pressure of doing the low cognitive work, but then also being creative and smart enough to focus on the high cognitive work.
Totally agree.
I think that's the issue there, right? So as you said, if we can take away that low cognitive work, and I think the AI is great for that. It's kind of a robot, and it should do that job, right? There's input, there's a black box, the algorithms, and then there's this output. But we as humans, we have this brain that can actually literally think outside the box and be creative. We can dream, and I always say that we can dream. AI can't dream yet. So just a couple of low cognitive work that you would say to anyone to look to automate now.
Yeah, for sure. So I think depending on your role, so I sit on the SDR side of this, the sales function. So I think the biggest kind of time waste that SDRs generally have, for example, is scouring the internet or through data platforms to find out who are the right people for me to engage with. And you mentioned the creativity there. I think one of the hardest things about being an SDR now is that every channel, maybe not so much phone calls these days, but pretty much every channel is so flooded that your job is to now stand out from the crowd. It's not necessarily about just educate that you exist. It's about standing out from the crowd somehow. And that means that you do have to sink a lot of time into understanding who you're reaching out to, what they care about, being able to personalize and make it super relevant to them. There's a lot of energy and effort for SDRs that goes into all of that, just even to have a list that you're going to focus on for today or this week. So for me, removing all of that burden using AI will supercharge an SDR mission straight off the bat. And as I say, then they can focus purely on the human interaction that they're having and that creative part of the work, and not just box shifting and heavy lifting.
Yeah. And on that as well, I'll just piggyback off your comment there, Stuart. I'm now more on the AE side of things, but ultimately it kind of applies really to an AE as well, but especially so with an SDR is ultimately it's build a list, call the list, or send them emails or LinkedIn. But if AI can do that bit in terms of the building of the list, then you can actually focus on the skills that you hire an SDR for, or an AE, which is to sell or to, like you say, be curious, ask questions, cool. It's almost the further specialization of someone to actually do the job that they're intended to do, rather than, all the admin that comes with it. I think that applies to so many industries, not just sales.
Yeah, well, also Taskdrive does the building of the list, so don't forget, guys. You can
There you go.
jump to Taskdrive to build the list. Outsource
Easy
it.
plug for you, Tim.
Just outsource it. You don't have to do that mundane work. No, but we'll talk about it in a bit. But we're pivoting to something cool that you guys would like as well. That's why you saw a little bit of our new branding today as well, and it's kind of a soft launch together, and that's why I'm very excited to have you guys. But since Stuart had some internet problems in the beginning, we couldn't really introduce Stuart. Stuart is at Dealfront. You're the director of sales dev, if I'm not mistaken, and so we're gonna hear a little bit more from that end from Stuart. I know you had that internet issue, so we're gonna do really the proper intro. I just wanted to make sure to highlight that, right? And if I'm not mistaken, is you guys bought Leadfeeder or you changed to Dealfront? What happened there?
No, so we had two different organizations, EchoBot, which is a German organization, and Leadfeeder, which is a Finnish company. They're two very complementary products. In April this year, we merged both those companies together to create a new brand, which is Dealfront. So we can now offer a platform that you can see which companies are on your website, but then you can also get the contact details of the decision makers you'd care about, leverage sales triggers to prioritize, and then go after those organizations.
Well, amazing. I mean, you might not know that actually we were partners with Leadfeeder back there. So I think we're going to talk about partnership again at some point very soon.
Sounds good.
Amazing. Well, great. I mean, and Brad, yeah, please, how you jumped onto that conversation whenever you fancy that, it's a friendly chat. Let's do that, because I think that's the most exciting conversations happen from that. In the meantime, to the ones who couldn't connect or the ones that are here, make sure on the LinkedIn to put the link. What the Restream does, sometimes it just creates its own event, but we do have people joining slowly in the meantime. Great. So Brad, since we started on that, how about the customer interactions? I know you're more on the sales side, but I believe you might have a little bit to say about, how did AI help on the customer interaction and the experience of those customers, and potentially from like that end of the sales process to starting to be a customer. Anything to add there?
100%. And I think this applies to not only the customer experience, but kind of most parts, of that kind of sales journey. Is that I think AI has helped both with relevancy and the kind of personalization piece. Now, like whether it's, you're a kind of B2C consumer and you're going online to like buy, shoes or whatever, and you might put them in your basket and then you get an email. That's the level of personalization and relevancy that people are expecting, right? They don't want any kind of rubbish Google ads or Instagram ads hitting them with something that, isn't relevant to them, right? And I think that's kind of a big area where AI has kind of helped HubSpot's interactions with their customers and the sales process. So I think the first thing is obviously the more data points you can analyze about a company, it's going to make things much more personalized to them. So whether that be the customer service team having interactions with the customer post sales, being able to understand a bit more about their data point, a bit more about what they've been doing in the portal, all these sort of different kind of stats and data points that are going to allow that customer service rep to have a bit more of an informed conversation. I think that's kind of one key area. I think, like you say, chatbots is huge. I'm sure you'll both remember the days of, and they are still around, those old chatbots that are kind of scripted mechanics that, you kind of say, how can I help you today? Click one of these 4 options, and you just go through this like quite mundane process to try and get to actually speak to someone.
And then you go crazy. Human support, please.
Exactly.
Speak to someone.
And then the human, right? So that's like a big kind of thing, I think, around chatbots, and those chatbots now are both a sales, marketing, and a customer service tool. So that can be someone, on the website, want to know a little bit more about pricing, or, they're looking for a particular ebook or case study or whatever it may be. that ability to actually really quite quickly understand what it is they're asking for using AI without actually having the cost of, a human agent or kind of less human agents is super key. So I think that's a second point where we're really kind of focusing down at the moment. And then kind of what I've already talked about, but from a kind of sales perspective as well is, customers now have so much information out there on the internet that by the time they come to you as a sales rep, they've probably read every paper there is out there. They've looked at, your 15 competitors. They know everything there is about it. So at that point, it's about running them through a really nice, relevant sales process that actually takes on their particular needs and their challenges, not this sort of bog standard sales process where you kind of run through your scripted questions. You want to be able to summarize all these calls and make really nice follow-up emails so that everything's kind of really clearly cut on that as well. We got a message there, Tim, just asking, is there any available data on average durations and message counts on sales-focused voice and chatbots? There is, I believe, with HubSpot. So sign up.
Yeah. So you do get to the analytics of that, right?
Yeah, I have to double check exactly what analytics you get before I sell the dream. But yeah, you definitely do get some analytics.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to really dig into this because I used to love Motion.ai and you guys bought it like a long time ago and then you didn't do anything with it. And I was so upset about it. And it's like, now if you go to Motion.ai, the page still says bought by HubSpot. And it's like, it was such an amazing chatbot back in the day. And I know you took that technology, potentially the people inside the company, but it's not your fault, Brad. So I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, well, but that's exactly what you said. It's that those chatbots was just a logic tree, right? And you had those 4 options. If you had something else in your mind, well, good luck with that. And I think that generative AI in general, it's exactly removing that barrier of not understanding a human's other ideas about that discussion and not just being like, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, like A, B, C, D. No, you can have X as well and Y. And if you do train your GPTs, your custom version of that generative AI, you can really get very far, and it's just incredible to see that.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And I mean, this is going to be like for both of you guys, so we can just make it a conversation, because I think that we started to touch upon it. But how adopting these AI in your sales strategies that we've been discussing has contributed to the revenue growth, at your companies or anything you've seen outside. You tell me who wants to go first, but do you see the bottom end? Do you see really revenue growing thanks to these technologies?
Do you want me to go, Stuart, or do you want me to pass over to you?
Yeah, go on, Brad, because my internet will probably cut out anyway, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. Look, as you know, Tim, I'm a small cog in the big machine that is HubSpot. So in terms of the kind of larger revenue impacts, I won't be able to comment on, obviously, but I can see it kind of in terms of quota attainment and things like that. And I probably a bit of a theme you've picked up on. I've definitely see a lot of the immediate benefit of AI being around time saving. And I did the first thing my manager said to me kind of when I joined is, you basically got 8 hours in the day. The whole entire company and the world is going to basically try and fill that up with stuff that isn't going to directly help you close more deals. And it's your job to kind of try and filter that out and focus on those revenue generating activities, right? And that's kind of how I always see it, is like, right, if I can save 15 minutes here to actually summarize and do a follow-up for me, and there's 3 of those a day, brilliant. I've got 45 minutes back in my day to make more calls. Or if I can do some research that might take me an hour in the morning in 10 minutes by using kind of generative AI, brilliant, I've got more time back in my day. So that's the way I see it, is it's actually allowed me to focus my time on the things that are directly going to help me create more deals, close more deals, basically, which is cold calling, it's doing those emails, it's having those conversations, and it's working those deals and having calls. Allows me to do more of that. That's kind of one angle I see it from. I don't know if Stuart's got a different angle as well.
Yeah, cheers, Brad. I think So ultimately for Dealfront, yes, it has helped with revenue growth for sure. I think so we have the benefit of one of our own tools. You know, Dealfront does use AI to help us segment lists and prioritize that for us based on the accounts that are most likely to engage and have the higher propensity or highest propensity to buy from us based on, you know, the AI algorithms and what it's doing. And so ultimately, saving all of that time, either just operating with a bit of hope as a strategy where we target companies because they're on a AE's target list and the SDR is going to support, or just kind of flying blind. We don't really have to do that when we do outbound. And that's meant we've driven efficiencies within the team and seen uplifts across the SDRs that are focused on the outbound motion. And those deals are more likely to close quicker and have more velocity through the funnel because it's much better targeted. We have a much better, stronger proposition. We have good stories to tell. And that in turn has turned into revenue for the business. But also on the flip side of that, because we're not targeting, you know, lesser or poor fit accounts, things like customer acquisition cost has been reduced or is being reduced. We don't need to have bloated teams with loads of headcount that are just supporting inefficient processes. And so I think all of that contributes to the bottom line of the business and the revenue growth that we see.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we have another question, but before I'm getting into that, well, thank you for that feedback there. I'm just gonna, so Brad, first of all, you said something, and I want to correct that. For me, you are the biggest at HubSpot because you're my friend at HubSpot. So you know, so I can invite you here. So I'm happy. You know,
because you don't know Darmesh.
Yeah, exactly. If not, yeah, Darmesh. I love his AI stuff. That's another topic. But so thank you again, Brad, for accepting this invite. You know, that's awesome to have you here. And Stuart, I think a bunch of people have been talking about your background, so I want to say your background is really cool. Yeah, just FYI, while you have the internet. You know,
I thought you meant my professional background, not this.
Yeah, that as well, but your actual background as well. Look at that. Look, I'm making a big screen so everybody can see it. It's awesome. I love that. Amazing. Well, the conversation is really interesting, and I could get very technical with my questions because I personally have been obsessed about ChatGPT since day one. And what I didn't realize is that I knew about AI about 4 or 5 years ago when I was at a company. I was the head of marketing. We were doing computer vision. So we were doing image recognition for real estate. It was super boring AI, you know, and I was in it. I didn't get it. You know, I was like, well, it's, you know, neural networks, deep learning, all that kind of stuff. It was like, good times. And then when ChatGPT came along, I was like, oh my god, this is just awesome. You know, it really does help me, you know, gain about 3 to 4 hours a day. You know, projects that would take you a couple of days takes me hours. You know, and as a CEO, just sitting there, being able to document stuff and all that, and just sending it to my team, it's just like, wow, you know, and that's, you know, I call it my BFF. Some people make fun of me, but it is really my BFF, you know. And I get upset when people say, you know, just to get some LinkedIn likes, they're like, ChatGPT's dead or ChatGPT sucks. It's like, don't say that.
That's not my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say that. I'm coming to get you. Yeah, awesome, amazing. So. And how about some challenges, guys? Because I know we're talking all about the positive side and all that, but I know there are challenges. And I think, Brad, you were saying about the personalization. Every time I talk about personalization with ChatGPT, GPTs, even custom GPTs, people are like, it's so obvious it's AI and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, maybe you don't know how to use it type of thing. So to both of you and, you know, whoever have seen like proper, has encountered proper challenges while implementing it and while working with AI in your sales strategies, you know, what was the challenges and how did you overcome them?
I'll let Stuart kick off on this one. I'll let it go first.
Sure. Cheers, Brad. I don't think the problem lies in the AI a lot of the time. I think it's the use of it. So, like you mentioned, you know, ChatGPT being your best friend and saving you a lot of time. Like, it's because you're using it in a way that it can be used to supercharge things. The trouble is that, like, you know, you see it all the time on LinkedIn. Like, people just say, write me a LinkedIn post, copy and paste, and spam it out there, and then it's going to be less effective for you because it's really see-through. And people do that with outbound prospecting messages or follow-ups and things like that, and I get it on LinkedIn all the time. I've literally got a dot in my name before the S for Stuart, because now I know who's automating LinkedIn connections to me, or oh, you've looked me up using this totally automated message that you didn't send. So I think those are the kind of limitations. It's actually how you embrace and adopt the tools to use it in the right way. The flip side of that is I probably have a slightly different thought process of the challenges. And I think the biggest challenge with AI is shiny thing syndrome. I think there's so much out there, and it's such a buzzword and hot topic at the moment that naturally everyone wants everything that's available because it seems like the best thing ever. And I think you could do that if you had the budget to go and do it, but you'd probably find that actually you take one step forward to take two steps backwards and damage a lot of things that already work pretty well. You just needed to tweak them a little bit, and AI is not necessarily the answer for that. So I think staying away from that kind of shiny thing syndrome is like the biggest challenge, because everything seems cool, and it's just going to get even more cool as time goes on. I think it's really assessing your own business and understanding where are the gaps that AI could plug, and finding a tool that suits you, because it'll be available, and if not in a few months, it will, because of the velocity of the technology that's coming along. And then making sure you embrace it before you do 50 things at once using AI.
Very well said. Brad, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, you covered off all the kind of challenges really I had from that perspective. So that was very thorough. I guess the only maybe angle to think about it that hasn't been mentioned yet is there is obviously so much potential with AI, and maybe some of those challenges of actually how you implement it within your team, right? And I think not even just around the actual capabilities of the AI, but the kind of change management piece around that. I think a lot of people still, like you say, see it as some people see it as a bit of a gimmick. Some people see it to its full potential. And I think it's around just making sure that people understand the benefit of when they are using it. They're not just using it for the sake of it. They're using it to actually help themselves do something, whether it's, like you say, to save time, to get better insight into something, or whatever it may be, rather than just doing it for no reason. And I think the last one is, it's like anything, the more you put into it, the more you get out. Just don't be lazy with it. I've seen people that, kind of, like you say, chuck a transcript of a discovery call in and say, summarize these challenges. And you look at the email and it's like, let's imagine it was a discovery call with you, Stuart. It would be like, Dealfront need to do this. Like, Dealfront should do that. Like, Stuart at Dealfront. And it's just like, no one's ever going to write it like that in an email, which makes it very obvious. So it's just making sure you're asking ChatGPT or whatever generative AI you're using to actually, you ask enough questions to mold that into an actual paragraph that you would actually write. So I guess laziness, like most things with salespeople, usually is the killer. As a lazy salesperson myself, just don't be lazy, I think is the key.
I think, you know what, Brad? I think being lazy is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's being lazy not in the sense of just cutting corners. It's being lazy to, like, how can I still be successful by making everything around me really efficient, so that I can chill out a little bit and still hit all my numbers or exceed them. But I'm with you. I think a lot of people are just lazy and want to cut every corner, and that's where it can go really wrong with AI.
Yeah, no, 100%. Definitely.
Well, that type of laziness, I think it's even good. The type of the one that you're saying, Stuart, because that's when you find solutions to challenges. You're like, I keep doing this every day the same way, an hour. How do I automate this, right? Because if it doesn't really need your creative input, a lot of things doesn't need our creative input, and those things should be automated. And I think being lazy in a good way is exactly pinpointed at this task, this low cognitive task, needs to be automated. And I think this is how we humans find even cars, that's because we are lazy people. Like, humans are lazy, a lot of it. It's like, some, of course, athletes and stuff like that, no, but I think in business, even me as a CEO, like, I look at for tools to automate work, to do things, it's because I don't want to do those things, so you could call that a bit laziness. But amazing feedback. Sorry?
Efficient laziness. I think John.
Yeah, efficient laziness. Yeah, laziness that leads to efficiency. I love that. That's a really good one. And I was quite laughing at what Peter said here. He said, not quite BFF, but I call ChatGPT my intelligent friend. It's not used to do everything for me, but helps me brainstorming ideas. Amazing. I think it's really good at brainstorming, 100%. I'm glad it's not your BFF, because it's my BFF now.
Peter used to be one of my BFFs. Hi, Peter.
Really? Okay. Well, hello to Peter from Stuart. Used to be though. Why not BFFs anymore?
No, I'm joking.
Is this like Inception? Peter is actually AI, and you're both just friends.
That's it. Yeah. I'm not real either. This is just complete.
Exactly.
Well, no, that your internet would have been better, Stuart. That's how we know you're not a robot.
I'll tell you what, though, if anyone sells internet services, they could personalize a great message to me after this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're out there, working for an internet service provider, for an ICP. Make sure to ISP. Make sure to message to it. You know what to personalize. That webinar you were on, you were having some trouble. Here you go. Amazing. But I do get that shiny toy syndrome myself, because I've always had it. I think I've cut that down a lot, but I think you could see from my background, I'm a sound engineer. I have a lot of synths, and I used to buy a lot of synths, but I'm the same with tools. But I do get that, and what I'll do is I'll test it a couple weeks, and I'll be like, this is good, and then I'll find some use cases for the team, and then I'll deploy it to them, and if I don't find a use case, then I'll cancel that subscription, and next month I'll look for a new toy, but I just got into Mid-Journey, especially the V6 version. It's just like, it's been a couple of nights that I'm on it. It's amazing. Come on, guys.
They're called Mid-Journey, did you say?
Yeah, Mid-Journey. Yeah, the V6 version is just like generate whatever image you want, and you'll see a lot on my LinkedIn for ongoing. Now I'm starting to generate some images for it. Have you played with Mid-Journey, Stuart? Because I think Brad haven't, but
not the most recent versions. But when it first was, a little while ago when it came out, it was I had to play around with it, and it's pretty phenomenal, isn't it? And there's lots of replicas of it now that do similar things, and I see it all over my social media, where there's almost like this trend where people ask it to generate one image, and then they'll keep telling it to like enhance it. So they'll say, like, I don't know, create a baby screaming at a banana, and then it'll be like, make the baby more angry, make him even more angry, now make 1,000 babies, and it's just like enhancing it and seeing what it can come up with, and you just come up with these like unbelievable images in seconds.
Yeah, no, it is fun. But I think the early versions, I did try that. I was like, wow, yeah, this is cool. But then you're like, the hands are not right, the nose is not right, a lot of things is not right when you do human and stuff. I was like, oh. So a year later, I'm back on it, because V6 is just like, you'll see my posts. It's just really, it's just really good stuff now. Check it out. It's awesome, amazing. Well, there is a question that I said we'll take it later, but let's get that question, see if we can answer it. I would like to learn more about actual conversation rates of bots and average order values. Okay, what's the actual ROI of funneling leads or prospects? Prospective customers through a bot? Should the customers be funneled through bots or given choices initially to either? Wow. Okay, that's quite a complex. Anybody has anything to add to that?
So I don't have the data that can answer the first bit, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But I can probably allude to a little bit on the second bit in terms of best practice. Is that I think that question kind of infers that is one way or another, that it's almost this, you've got one choice or the other. And I think, really well put together, website where you might have the chatbot on, it shouldn't be that way. You should have lots of options. So the chat should be there. If someone wants to use the chat, there could be a contact us form. If someone wants to fill out a form, or, there can be other sort of gated content or whatever. So you should provide multiple, I guess, conversion points for, your prospects, so that they can actually do whatever they want. It shouldn't be that, the only way that they can book in a meeting with you is via the chatbot, or, for example, or that there's no chatbot, then they have to book in a meeting before they can ask any questions. So I think it's just giving optionality. People like choices, never more so than 2020. I was about to say 2023, but it's 2024 now. So that's the really crucial bit there. I think is just give the people the choice. But I think the ROI is pretty good, I'd imagine.
That's quite a good answer. Stuart, anything to add to that? Because if not, I do have something.
I'm not an expert in chatbots. It's not my domain at all. So like the data and the ROI, I'm not familiar with, so I won't speak to that. But many years ago, I did work for a vendor that created chatbots, and one of the things that they were really focusing on was how a chatbot could start a conversation, but it could seamlessly switch to an agent, and you wouldn't even know should the conversation go down a path where a human would be a more viable option to engage on that conversation. And they had built things like you could go on a supermarket website and tell it what you were eating for dinner, and it would pair wine with it, for example. But then you could actually end up in a conversation with an expert who would help you further if the robot just couldn't manage it or didn't really understand. So I think, like, and that was years ago. So with the advancements in technology that we must have now in this area, I can imagine you can create a really, really cool experience using chatbots where it feels very human, and if it gets stuck, it's going to seamlessly transfer you to someone that's going to look after you, or, as Brad says, choose your own options and pick your own path. And I think people value that as well, so they don't feel like confined in a vendor's process. So I'm not an expert, but I think there's probably some really cool stuff out there that would help with this.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of cool stuff out there, but I think that I believe that as humans we have quite a short attention span, right? So if I come to a website and I want an answer on a question that I have, I don't care if it's going to be a human or a bot or some knowledge article. I need that answer, or a video. Just answer that. The quickest we get to the answer to our question, that's a win, right? And if it does get complex, and generative AI, if it's trained properly, it can do most of the conversations, right? But if you do want to chat to a human, you should have the option to book a meeting. But you're never going to get a human in a second in front of you, but you can get an answer from a chatbot in a second. So I think looking at that, and I think it reduces sales cycles as well. We used to have long sales cycles because like, oh, my availability is next week at this time, and then they ask about the pricing and how would the onboarding work and stuff like that. It's like, well, we had articles on that. Oh yeah, but I just wanted to talk to someone. Well, you could just chat to a chatbot. Let's talk about more custom stuff for you. So I think it's very important to look at the use case and answer your lead, your prospects, even a client on customer success the quickest possible. And if they're not happy with the answer, they should be able to book a time with a real human. But I think that's where it's going to help a lot, to reduce that. How many conversations you guys have that is not going to lead to something, and it's just like a bunch of questions that anything could answer, like any chatbot could answer, even a Logic 3 chatbot could answer a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think we should use the technology for what's it good for. Amazing. Wow. Okay, that was a really good answer to that question as well, guys. Thank you. So if you guys have any other questions on the chat, keep them coming. We'll love them. I heard some people had some issues, but I think it's solved. Just refresh. LinkedIn can be tricky like that. If you're having problems with LinkedIn, we're always on YouTube as well at the same time, so you can also find it on YouTube. Amazing. Cool. So let's talk quickly about ethical considerations, data privacy, customer trust. Anything to add there? Like how, are you facing any of these guys? Especially at HubSpot, I do believe you might have a bit more strict policies on that. Maybe at Dealfront as well.
Yeah, Brad, did you want to go first?
I'll let you go first, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I guess there's kind of two sides to this. There's the Dealfront side and then the tools that we leverage internally. We've got quite a strict AI policy in place. So it covers all things like not uploading confidential information, no passwords can be shared. We'll never use anything that's identifying or any confidential information while leveraging AI. So like an example of that would be, some people might go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I work for Dealfront. Here's our website. Here's what we do. I'm going to target Brad at HubSpot. Here's his LinkedIn. Write me a message. We wouldn't do that. And our policies like strictly prohibit that. We generalize stuff. So we might say, I work for a company that does this kind of thing. Think about me contacting a team leader who's trying to sell to SMBs. Draw me some parallels between what I do and what he might care about. and do that very succinctly in under 100 words, and then use that output to then tailor further to Brad specifically without having that in an LLM or anything like that. That's actually a really bad example because we don't do that. But, for example, that would be one. I guess working for a German company is quite interesting because Germany is so hot on compliancy issues. So, we follow all of the industry best practices internally, but also in our tool, we have ISO certifications. We have lots of different codes of conduct. I guess being partly a German company and being super hot on compliancy and how we kind of present ourselves and our proposition. One of our USPs is around the legal aspects of this kind of market we serve. So we're really hot on this, and our IT security team are all over it.
You see, I forgot the German part, because that's like square everything.
That's very packaged.
Amazing. Brad, anything to add to that?
No, I was just going to say, like, it's not an area I'm particularly well versed in, and I'm without a doubt HubSpot probably has some very strict policies that I abide by, but not overly aware of like anything in particular. And I'm sure our AI that's sort of public facing, that's part of our product, again, will have some sort of barriers around it and some. I was about to say kill cord, but that's probably a bit of an old-fashioned term. But so I'm not entirely sure. Didn't have a huge amount to say on that topic, to be honest. But I think it's, as you see, I think with all these kind of AI leaders meeting quite regularly to discuss the future of AI, I think the ethical and legal kind of issues around it is definitely going to come to the top of the conversation quite quickly. And I think that's going to be very defining in terms of how they make sure that, like you say, AI doesn't get out of control, or that there are some level of barriers involved in it. Because, you meet people at the pub, and sorry, this is a slight tangent, but that maybe don't use AI on a day-to-day basis, and they say, well, apparently you've got to say please and thank you to it, because otherwise, it might get to the point where it comes to kill you. And you just think, I don't know if that's a legit thing, whether you've gone barking mad or you've had too much to drink, but that's what people are saying, and it's it's crazy.
Do you know what
it's coming after you.
So I make sure I say my please and thank yous.
Just in case, right? You never know, right? Because if that, I see that all the time as well. It's like I'm polite to it so that when the time comes, it spares me. And I'm bad at that because I used to be like that. I used to be like, please, thank you. And I've given up on that because I even get angry at it sometimes. I told you to do this way. Why did you give me this? I get angry at it, so it might come after me. But then it's also my BFF, so we'll see. What happens.
It's going to be one of those slightly psychotic best friends that come after.
Exactly. Let's see. Well, I think 2024 is going to be an interesting year because 2023 was definitely the year that it just exploded, right? And now, as you said, Brad, as well, I think the legalities, the privacy, we see it from, I think it was the Times or Times sued OpenAI. There's a lot of court cases happening around that and so on. But also, I think that, HubSpot, I know you have an Irish office, you have a Boston office. I think the US part should be a bit cooler about that than, of course, the European part. And as Stuart said, I think Germans are going to be even stricter with data privacy and so on. At Taskdrive, we make sure that there's no client information going into any of that AI stuff, but we do put our own stuff, because what's going to happen from our own data, we don't see any risk on it, but we would never do that for our clients. We have that in our terms or conditions, because we do leads for them and so on. So we don't put that into any of that stuff. Before I get into more the official couple of questions that I had for you, just because it was a couple days ago, ChatGPT for Teams. Did anybody get ChatGPT for Teams? Any of you?
No, I'm not actually. No.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Well, I got it. It's awesome. I got it. I got it, and I gave it to my team. To a few people in my team, and we're slowly deploying it to other people. It's great because you can share GPTs. You have admin access and so on. Awesome. Yeah. So we have a couple of minutes because I know Brad has another meeting. So let's go quick. Maybe I'll just jump into a quick question and then do a closer. So let's answer that quite quickly. What's the advice Yeah, I'm gonna change that one. Sorry. What's the advice you would give to companies that are just beginning to explore the integration of AI into their sales process?
Yeah, I've got a few points. Do we to kick off, Stuart? Sorry.
Go on, Brad. Yeah, go on after
All
you.
right, fab. No, so I think it's just like be experimentative. Just really lean into the change, throw down any barriers you might have. I think sales for a long time, and this probably applies to so many businesses where you get these. I hate to put them into a category, but maybe people that have been in the industry a long time that are very set in their ways. They say, this use MedPick, and then you go do this, you do that, and then you get a deal. It's all very structured. I think my advice would be, if you're in a business where that might be the case, is just to try and really encourage that person to, bring down the barriers, kind of get experimentative, try it out. What might work for, Taskdrive might not work for HubSpot. What works for HubSpot might not work for Dealfront. It's just about kind of your particular business and have a little bit of play around it. And I think, typically in an organization, and this is massive stereotyping, probably not allowed to say it, but younger people might be slightly more up to date with these kind of advancements of AI and things like that. So I think the crucial bit is like, if you have got SDRs in the organization, things like that, give them little projects to go work out how we can fix this using AI or do this, right? Because they'll be the ones that will be thinking outside the box. They're not kind of chained with the old methodologies of MedPick and Sandler and all that kind of fun stuff. So let them experiment around, see what happens, and just have fun with it. And not all of it's going to work. Some might work, and just do more of the stuff that does.
Yeah, just experiment. Great answer. Stuart, do you have a couple more minutes? Because I know Brad has a hard stop, so maybe we can say thanks to Brad and continue the conversation with you, Stuart. Is that fine?
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, Brad's from HubSpot, team leader at HubSpot, slowly becoming a good friend of mine. Let's see ChatGPT and you. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you so much, Brad, for joining the conversation. I know you must have an important meeting. I know you're in a meeting room somewhere in the HubSpot office. So thanks again for the amazing insights that you're giving here as well. And guys, he doesn't have to promote it. I'll do it for him. Chat to Brad if you need HubSpot. HubSpot is the best CRM out there. At the end of the day, I call it the Rolls-Royce of CRMs, and it has even more than just the CRM, from marketing automation to operational stuff and all that. I'll promote it for you. Don't get the 90% discount. Brad won't give you that. Just contact Brad if you need HubSpot, because I do recommend it to everybody. Brad, do you have anything else to say before we let you go?
No, it's just, I think you did my job for me there, Tim. And yeah, if anyone watching, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. It'd be great to be a connection. And thanks very much, Tim, for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure. I don't know where I sit compared to ChatGPT in terms of your friend list, but
slowly getting there. A couple more webinars. You'll be there.
Exactly. But look, pleasure to see you both. And I hope everyone has a great day and happy 2024.
Brad, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Awesome. We had Brad, and he had a hard stop, but thanks for joining the hour here. And Stuart, your internet seems okay now, and we're here a few more minutes if you do have the time. I'd be happy to listen a bit more, because I think you have a little bit more technical knowledge in the space as well, if I understood correctly, because you mentioned LLMs. I think you understand a little bit more from it. What are the advices that you would give to anyone getting into AI for sales?
Yeah, look, I think Brad made some great points for sure. I think just to kind of follow on from that, I would say just don't rush. Just take your time to get it right. There's loads of noise out there with all sorts of AI tools at the moment, but we're really scratching the surface, and we're right at the beginning of this journey, really. There's so much time to learn, evolve it, grow with it. I think you don't need to go and rush and buy 50 different AI tools. I think it's imperative that you really spend some time identifying the weaknesses in your current processes, and not just like annoyances per se, but things that are fundamentally impeding your team's ability to be successful. And think about how AI may solve some of those challenges, even if you're just blue sky thinking, like, what would utopia look like? And the reality is that something out there will probably be pretty close to it, or within the next 6 months, there's going to be a solution that evolves and becomes apparent for you. So I would say, just on top of Brad's great advice, just don't rush out there to go and do loads of AI stuff because it's a buzzword. Figure out what you need to be successful and your team need, and then dive into that.
I think that's great advice to it. Thank you. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, go and get onto the AI. So that's just me. Don't do it. Listen to Stuart. He's much more smarter than I am. I just like to innovate quickly because I do believe that that's what we love to do at Taskdrive at the moment. But I think Dealfront, as you mentioned, German, much more established. I think you guys have a lot more rules and so on, which makes sense. And take your time, experiment. I think Brad said really well as well. Experiment, take your time, document it, see what works, what doesn't work. Right.
I think that's the thing, and even with you guys, right? I mean, we might approach it from a slightly different angle, but I think we're probably somewhat saying the same thing of like, go and learn about it all for sure. Like, become knowledgeable, learn about it all, but you don't need every single tool. No. Like you were saying, Tim, you tend to like cancel your subscriptions when you figure out, hey, this isn't going to be beneficial, but you buy the ones that you can prove are going to be beneficial, and then leverage them for your teams. That's the right way to go. Go and learn about it, but you don't need to jump into absolutely everything at once because it's available, because not everything will help you. And some things that you're going to overhaul different processes because AI is available, and you'll probably do more damage than good. So pick the ones tactically that are going to really drive things forward. And I think AI is great for you.
And I think I love what you said, go learn them all, because I think AI is here to stay. It's not like, I'm going to say crypto and a lot of people are going to kill me, or blockchain and stuff like that. It's just like, or IoT, things like that. They're awesome. I'm sure they're here to stay as well, but it was just a massive trend, and then, just slowly coming back up, I guess. I don't know, maybe. But I think AI is here to stay, and we can see it from, the general news is there. You open TV, you'll hear about that. I don't watch TV, but the second you would open that, the news is about ChatGPT, and somebody did something with ChatGPT, and there's a court case about ChatGPT and AI, and OpenAI is like the biggest company now, right? So one of the biggest companies. So it's here to stay. Let's be honest, right?
For sure, yeah. Let's not talk about crypto because I'm definitely down here somewhere with it.
Well, the problem with me story than that is that I got into it a little bit late as well, and then and then it went boom, and then I was like, this is crap.
Crypto's dead.
Yeah, I had some friends, he bought it at £150, a couple of them, and then he sold it at 35K or something. I was like, wow. So then I got excited, and then I lost money.
Yeah, same. Luckily, my partner's gone out the house, so I'll say openly, I lost money on it too.
Same here. But I say, my partner knows about it, but it's in a hardware wallet somewhere here now. It's like, just in case one day it comes back big time, and we might be billionaires one day. You never know. Amazing. I'd love to end this here, but we have a great question, if you don't mind. Last question while this here, because we love Q&A. If you do have a couple of minutes, let's see. Sure. LinkedIn has AI features that target individuals in a personalized way. Is it compliant with your outreach approach?
Good question. I think being able to like target individuals and personalize stuff is great. I think where you can blur the lines is just you can overstep with AI, or you can blur like compliancy laws or GDPR and different things like that. I think that what you should do is leverage AI to help you get to a point, and then humanize it beyond that to stay compliant, to stay ethical. And actually, that's what people appreciate, right? They don't appreciate getting AI targeted because it is see-through. And if the features exist on LinkedIn, you can guarantee there's hundreds and thousands of teams that are doing exactly the same thing in the same way, and it becomes really see-through. So I would advise you to use those features in a way that gets you to a point, and then humanize beyond that and take it onto that, one-to-one or one-to-many, whatever's manageable for you and the team you work in, and make it human beyond that point, because people appreciate it and the success rate will go through the roof.
I think that was an awesome answer. And, I'd just add a couple of things there. because you said it, but just to clarify, people likes to buy from people. It's a human to human interaction. Even B2B, B2C, I love all that crap, but H to H, I was calling it back in Barcelona in a keynote speech, and it's human to human interactions. We buy from humans. I'd buy from Stuart, I'd buy from Brad. Why? Because they're real humans, they're lovely, they're sweet, they're nice to talk to, and that's what we want, right? But if that first conversation to get your answers quickly is AI, that's fine, right? But then make sure that you're interacting with people, because you're going to partner up. It's not just buying something most of the time. We're B2B companies, so it's higher tickets. It's not your $29 subscription, right? So you're going to get something bigger. You do want to have somebody on the other side.
I would just add to that, Tim. I think the thing is, and maybe this is slightly controversial to say out loud, but the barrier is so low because of the amount of poor SDR work, the poor AE outreach, that is just spamming stuff out the door, is just using generic AI written messaging. The barrier is so low that actually you only need to be marginally different to stand out from the crowd, and it's all about standing out from the crowd. And so I would use, LinkedIn's AI features or any other AI tools to get you to that baseline that everyone else is on, but then spend the time that you've now saved to reinvest to raising yourself, putting your head above that parapet. And it's not that difficult to do. You just have to put a bit of energy into it. So I don't know, Tim, I know you like traveling, right? And I know one of the missions for your organization is to help, a bunch of people reclaim time and focus, right? So maybe I connect those dots somehow, and ChatGPT or whatever could build me a message about someone that enjoys traveling, that's a CEO of a company. But maybe then I connect the dots between your organizational objectives and the frustrations you might have wasting time
100%.
Clearing security in airports, and all of a sudden that's really personal, and it would take me 2 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. And just we do have a methodology we call the 5-5-5. It's in 5 minutes to find 5 facts about someone, and then in 5 minutes to personalize the message. So that 5-5-5, it's starting to get even shorter, because you could actually ask Perplexity or ChatGPT about 5 facts about Stuart, and I didn't know about his background and all that stuff, but you could find bad from here. I knew about his internet. That's all right. And you get a couple of facts, and then if he likes, let's say he likes music and I like music, and you just mention that, even if it's ChatGPT writing it, he's gonna talk to me. And Stuart, the things that you just said about me, you send me that message, I'm gonna answer. But if you tell me, hey, I love the company you built at Taskdrive and the success you had, would you like lead research? It's like, well, I do lead research. Why are you trying to sell me a lead research? And that happens all the time. So that's really crap. And I think, Stuart, as you said, there's so much crap outbound there that it's not too hard to be a little bit better, right? And just by finding these facts about Stuart, about me, about anybody that you're targeting, and just putting them out there. And just to go back into a point that you said, Stuart, I do have a technology or a GPT or a GPT connected to a sheet that I could remove the dots in front of your name, so that
you'd be one of the few that does it.
Yeah, I could do that.
I think you're right, though, right? And the thing that also people forget is, let's say, Tim, I find you for the first time. You're the first guy that I write a message to about music, but I somehow connect that back to my proposition and weave in some analogies and cheeky puns and all that kind of stuff. I don't now have to rewrite that message if I find someone else that likes music, because I have it. And then I'm only personalizing the top sentence, and the entire thing reads like I put the energy and effort into it. And so actually you only have to build it once, and you can repurpose a lot of stuff, but it still seemed really beneficial. So you're even saving time downstream, doing it that first time, and then using, hey, I built this message for Tim, but if I just change the top line of it, now it reads for Brad as well. Perfect.
100%. I think that's a really good tip. It's and at the end of the day, I loved. I'm going to mention him here, Mark Colgan, a really good friend of mine, and really good at outreach, like one of the top guys at outreach out there. He said it's not about personalization only. It's not even. He said, I think the making sure that it's the right person that has the pain point is more important than the personalization. Right? If you do have that pain point, you're not going to care. Oh, he likes music as well. Shit, I do have that problem that you just said. Can you solve it? Right?
Yeah, I think the thing is, people, like when they hear personalization, they just think about saying, "Hey, Tim, we both like eating cheese. We should engage with each other." Like
Everybody
no one
likes
really,
eating cheese. A lot
yeah,
of
no
people
one
that.
gives a shit about it, right? Like, but I think it's about being relevant.
Yeah,
Personalization has that.
relevancy.
Yeah, relevancy is within that, and I think sometimes people detach. And when I talk about personalization, I need to be relevant to you, but it needs to feel or be completely about you, and not just this like 1 to 1,000 people that I spam cannon today.
Yeah, I know, and that's the word I was looking for. I think of it very much is relevancy. Relevancy wins over personalization, but still making sure that is a bit personalized with those facts will go even extra mile, right? It'll be even better. Amazing. And Stuart, I mean, Dealfront, you guys changed quite a bit from my days of lead feeder. Why should people look at Dealfront? What can you offer them? What's the relevancy for people? How would you solve their pain points?
Yeah, so if you work in sales, SDR, marketing, we have platforms and tools that will support you win more deals across Europe. We're exclusively focused on Europe. We're not trying to like conquer everywhere in the world all at once. We're really focused. The lead feeder part of our tool, which is how you can identify which companies are on your website, so you can focus and target those. That works globally, but from a data perspective, where we uncover the right decision makers for you to contact and provide you their details to reach out. We really heavily focus on Europe with our customers. And one of the USPs that we have is really around the compliancy piece. So we're not, scraping your CRM if you're a customer and reselling every, prospect that you have in there to our next customers. We don't have contributor networks. We don't do anything like that. All of our data is pulled from public record or certain subscriptions that we have. So it's completely compliant. And if anyone ever says to you, "Where did you get my contact details?" you can pinpoint exactly where it came from, and it'd be pretty compliant. So that's one of the core things that we focus, like making sure that outreach is compliant, but also we're helping you be successful by pushing you in the right direction, showing you who to reach out to.
Everybody wants to close more deals, right? So reach out to Stuart.
I'll help you win.
Yeah, exactly. A director of sales dev at Dealfront, Stuart Moss. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your time. I'm glad that the internet worked out much better than we expected in the beginning. It's been awesome to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me, Tim. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've had some amazing people out here. It's been a great chat. We're going to have many, many, many more of these. So thanks again to Brad Smith and Stuart Motes for joining me. I'm the CEO at Taskdrive. I'll still give a CTA here, of course, a soft sell for you guys. Here's QR code, I think. So if you're looking for some AI powers, you want to get rid of that mundane work, the low cognitive work that we've been mentioning. We just pivoted to something really cool. We give you virtual assistants, real people with AI powers. They have access to these chat GPTs, the custom GPTs, to prompts that we design, the GPTs that we design for our clients, so that you can get rid of that work and just focus on the best thing that you do, which is the high creative and so on. Consistency is what brings growth, and your AI powered virtual assistants at Taskdrive is here to do that. So check out our website. I am Tim Checker, CEO of Taskdrive. I'm available on LinkedIn or tim@taskdrive.com. Just send me a message. I'd be more than happy to help you guys see how you can do better in your company and grow by getting those repetitive tasks, outsourcing 80% of those repetitive tasks to an AI powered virtual assistant. Thanks again, guys. We have a lot more webinars coming, so follow our LinkedIn page and stay in touch. Cheers.